on the camera in
Sure.
few
Okay.
minutes.
Okay.
Like,
Cool.
yeah.
So before
Okay.
that,
Yeah.
this is just a refresher, and I want to introduce you about the all the methods and the methods and the all the properties that are included in the vanilla JS and the plain JavaScripts. So I will not build any complete applications, but we will build like short demo applications. Uh, by compiling all those things, you can definitely build something like any to-do applications, or it's just a demo type, or some typing speed applications, or yeah, anything cool you can make that. So so in the vanilla JavaScript, basically there are for example, for understanding the document object model, if we just go to our browser console and type Windows, it will give some properties, and it will give something like there are a lot of properties and included in this, and that is called as the basically the browser object module. This is the, and Windows have something called as document, and inside the document, whatever the website content loads, all these all the our site data or site the content like schema means the HTML formatting is loaded inside the document object model. So basically your your document object model is nothing but the JavaScript like HTML files you write, and that HTML file is consist of the lot of hierarchy of HTML head, body, its title, which we will see in just in a while. So for example, this is called as the DOM and the node tree, and uh, and these document objects model have lot of properties and the methods which by which we can access or change change the content of the site. So let's see something like
सर अभी आपने वो विंडोज़ वाला कहाँ लिखा था? वो एक बार बताना फिर से।
okay, yeah. So this is the window. Basically, uh, in our browser, every time the JavaScript is running, so this Chrome access has access to the JavaScript. It means it has a JavaScript engine running inside the Chrome, and that is called as in the Chrome it's known as V8 engine. In different browsers there are different engines like Internet Explorer has something called as Chakra, or and Mozilla have also, I forget the name, Mozilla Chase engine. So Mozilla JavaScript engine is called as Spider Monkey. So different browsers have different JavaScript engine. Similarly, the Chrome has something called as V8 engine, 8 engines, which manages the JavaScript and runs the JavaScript code inside this inside this environment. So if you type like let's open my one of the portfolio project I built. Okay, cool. So if I type here document, I have access to all the nodes of the HTML files. So whatever I have written is can be accessed inside this document object, and that is basically if you type the if you see the type of the document, it is object. So that's why all the properties of the documents can be accessed and changed, and there are multiple methods of that, like which we will see. uh, these are some of the methods you are able to see, like we will see in the codes. So let's make a file at index.html, and In the index.html, I'm just making a simple HTML file. Okay, so just a minute, guys. Okay, so we have the HTML files here we created. Now, if I want to write some JavaScript, I have to include a script file here. Load the source, that is script.js, and it goes. So you can import it here also, but I will tell you like why we import the script files at the last of the HTML content. So in the script file, for example, if you want to see that whether it is working or not, just write something as like hello, and so the script, the whatever the script we written is working here, and now we have access to this JavaScript files has access to the HTML content here. So there are multiple methods in document object model. We will see one by one. For example, there is something called as multiple. There are multiple methods using which you can select the content inside the HTML, and you can change that. So for example, if you want to select this HTML, let me close these things. Okay. Okay. So uh, there are multiple methods using which you can access this h1 class. So let me give it, it's a class name as hello, and using
Yeah.
JavaScript, I want to change this class name. So I can just select it using, first I will use the class selector. So there is a method called as get element by class name. You just put the class name as hello, and it will return the list of the nodes, list of all the nodes which has a class name hello. So now if I see what is h1, you will basically get a list of basically an array of objects which have a class name and h1. If I run here, and we will see I'm getting an HTML collection. And if I just want to check that what is this collection, what is the type of this collection, so it will give me that it is an object. Now if I want to change something, like if you do that, basically the content is inside the just so the content is inside the first, like I said that it will return a list of elements and not the only the first element. So we have in the 0 we have h1 dot hello. So you have to do like select the first element only, because we only have the first element here. So now it will say that we have this thing. So there are multiple properties using which you can access these the insides, the content inside this, or if you want to change the class name, you want to change the attributes. So let's say that if you want to add another class name in this, you can do that using h1 dot class list. So if I do class list and check the log, uh, uh, what it is returning, it say that there is only one class, that is hello. Let's say if I include something as uh, class 2, now it has two class names, 0 and 1. So why I am saying this, that how you can access the class names. For example, uh, there are a lot of things you can do by just adding class. For example, there are some effects happening and you want to add another class name after some events has happened. So in that case you can use these things to manipulate your class or remove your class names. So let's say that if I want to access the content inside the x is equals to, let's say, and you want to content inside the x. So now the content is saying that hello world, but I used your actually inner HTML, right? Now let's say that if I am including something as paragraph inside my h1, just give something, anything, and now return this thing. So the inner HTML is basically all the nodes plus your content. So whatever inside your node is returned using this. There are a lot of properties on the elements, like text content and text area. So all have different uses. So this is the only the class name. There are multiple selectors in this. For example, if you want to access some elements by the id, so basically ids in the HTML are unique and you can only assign id to only one elements and not to the multiple elements. So if I am giving id to id1, okay, so the id selector is similar to the class selectors, and it will also return, instead of the array of the objects, it will return just the element. And if I want to access my id element, okay, then document dot get element by id, and my id name is id1. Cool. Console this thing and see what it is there. Id element. So I did not use any zero, like select the first element, because the ID will only select the first itself. These things can select multiple elements. For example, if you just copy this thing and use the h1 console.log h1 and remove the 0, it will return a list of it is returning a list of elements which have the properties like the class name at hello. So that's the difference between the get element by class name, get element by id, and there is something called as get element by tag name. So for example, if you give the h1 or h2, so based on the tag it will return that. Then we have something called as query selector. Are you guys able to see my screen, or it's little bit small font, or it works, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah, bro, it works.
That's right.
Cool. Okay. So okay. So query selectors also works very similar to the class name or ID. So instead of and select return, actually the first it will select the only the first target. Select the first target element. Okay. So for example, if I use only hello, I have multiple hello here, multiple two class names with same two elements with same class name hello, and I want to select this thing. So let's say that const is equals to element is equals to document dot. So all this document, whatever I am using in the document, these are the methods of the DOM and not BOM. So basically, the whatever inside is the document is document object models, properties and methods. BOMs are related to the windows, and there are methods like window resize or inner width or inner height, by which you can change the size or interact directly with the window object. You can open new tab, or you can close the tab. So that are basically the properties of the window, and called as browser object model and not document object model. And document object model basically interact only with your website like content, and not outside that. So you cannot change tab using document object model properties. So in the query selector, I will give as dot is equals to hello, and just see what it is there. Okay, let's comment all these things for a while and see what we are getting. So we are getting hello. So as I said, it's returning only the first element and not the all element. If I want to return all element, in that case I can use query selector, query selector all, and it will return a list of elements like node list is equals to 2. If you want to see the properties of this, that what object it's returning, use type of, and here we go, it's object. Right. So all the node, basically the node list are objects. Everything in the document object model is objects, and that's why we can interact with these objects, like any object properties. So let's let's see some event listeners. That, for example, if I click on if I want to if I want to basically these things are running when I am running my directly my code. What happens if I do not want to interact with my function just after I run my code? So for example, this hello world is running just if I just refreshing my code. So uh, on the first entry this code is running. I do not want that. Let's see how you can do that. So there is something called as document event listeners. So in the event listeners, I'm just like waiting for the click to happen so that I can run my function, and I can do something like here. If you want to just console this thing hello, I do not want this hello function to run until and unless I click this thing. So now if I run that, my document, like this document object model will wait for me till the time I click, and when I click it will return something. So now I will click. When I clicked, it was waiting for the event to happen, and after that this event was fired. So basically this add event listeners are a properties of the document methods of the document object models, which by which you can interact with your interact with your mouse, interact with your internal sources like keyboard. You can wait for the mouse movement, you can wait for drag and drop. So let's see that, for example, if you want to track the mouse movement, and check that how you can build mouse move. So in this case the examples or uses can be, for example, if you want to build an applications like drag and drop, something like that. So in that case what you will do is that you will track your mouse movement, where it was clicked and where it was released. So you can track your mouse movement in that case. And for example, this is our mouse move click. It's a property, and let's say mouse moved. Okay, when I will move my mouse, the event will be fired, and it will be constantly get fired like this. So every time I'm running like on any type of movement, this thing is happening. And I'm able to track everything. So you can use any functions, whatever logics you want to use inside it. For example, uh, I can draw, and let's say that if window dot inner height. So let's say that if the height of the window is greater than 900, which is currently 912, so this is basically the properties of the browser, and you can check your browser height and width just by typing this thing like window dot inner height. So for example, if I let's say I want to track the inner width. Currently it's 1002. If I just scroll a little bit here, and now I will check that it's 875. Now it's 772. So what happening is that this window dot inner width is tracking your document every time. And you can access this inside your code. So let's say that if my on on mouse movement, if my inner width is less than inner width is greater than 900, document dot body dot style dot background. I will just set the background as red. So if my inner width is greater than 900, I will just on mouse movement, I will wait for the mouse movement, and then after my inner width is greater than 900, I will change the background to red. I moved the mouse and it was okay. The meeting is only for 10 minutes. In case we can join again, so I will send you another link. So here my window height is inner width is 345, and if I am moving my mouse, nothing is happening. For example, 501, nothing is happening. I increase a little bit, move my mouse, it's happening. So you can use a lot of logic here, whatever you want, and do and implement your logic here. So let's see some input list. Like if you want to add something, and if you want to get the data from there, how you will do that in that case. So here we will just make a name is equals to like email or number. Okay, so for example, and let's say that I am adding a button get data. So I want to get the data from this input box. I can see on the screen. What is this? Why it's red? Okay, so I want to get the data from this input box uh, when I click the mouse button. So first what you will do is that just get this element, and how you will do that, get your input num element, document dot query selector, use the number. I will use the like first get the reference from the every time you have to access some objects or elements inside this script, you have to first get the import it here, like get the reference of that so that you can access this thing. Give a class name like get. Okay, just use this thing. So the class can be accessed by dot properties, like similar to what we do in the css. So just do that, and for reference I'm just taking the console so that whether it's working or not. Take a look, both the things we are getting the reference now. What I want is that on click of the this button, get data button, I want the data from the I want the data from the input number, input box. Okay, so I will set a listener on this button, get button. It will this time it will not be on the document dot add with listener. Document is basically an object. Get button is also an object, so you can set your listener on any objects you want, like similar to how we interact with the object in other case. So get button dot add event listeners and add a click event, use a function. And now on the click of this event I have to get the data of this number element. So const data is equals to number element dot value. I think it's value. Yeah. Save this thing. I typed here 1234, like 1234. Clicking the get button, here I'm getting my data. So you can do anything you want in this case. For example, if you want to display the number here, let's say that I'm adding a paragraph tag or h1 tag that I want my data to display here. If I click the add like get data function, get data button, so just add a value and first import your element using val is equals to, let's say anything like text e document dot query selector value. Okay, now you can set something like text e dot text content is equals to data. And if I save this thing and just run again, now I have nothing displayed here. 1 2 3, I will click, and now what it is doing is that after getting the data from the here, I'm just setting the reference, like setting the value to setting the content text content of this h1 value to whatever I'm getting from here. So let's say that if I put it 0, the zero will be static in the initial. So if I add the event listeners, now my data is changed. So this is how the event listeners and the event listener works. And there are a lot of properties by which you can access the DOM. These are very few methods, like we talked about class selectors, ID selectors, and a few event listeners such as mouse click and uh, yeah, mouse events. So you guys have any doubts till now or anything? Like it's a basic overview, I know, but the projects, we can have a project sessions, but before that I want you guys to build some projects first, and then I can show you. Yeah, any doubts in this? And I think
No, sir.
this will this session will end soon because it's 40 minutes. The free version is limited to 40 minutes. Yeah, the remaining time is 2 minutes. Yeah, anything, any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay, so I think you guys already know about this, or it was it useful to you, or? Mm-hmm. Hello, hello. You all are on mute, man.
I knew about it.
अच्छा, मतलब ये वाली
I
चीज़ें अभी
was
नहीं किया था.
knowing.
I sent a course link. Did you guys do it?
Yes, I did.
अच्छा, ठीक है तीन. I think I will give a project on completing something related to this vanilla JS, and I will add it here on this project. So there are 2 3 projects I have thought, and it should not take more than 2 days, because I know that it might be a little tricky, because the projects will be not easy, and I will not give to do applications, because it's very easy, and I know you can find on the internet. So I want you guys to like use your brain sometimes, and yeah, build something cool. Like I saw some typing speed applications which was totally built on uh, vanilla JS. So you can make sort of like that, but I will suggest few projects in this. Any questions? I think I already have. Anyone
Meeting is
have
going to
built
end
like
soon.
uh-huh.
Meeting is going to end soon. We can discuss this in the next
You're not audible,
next
bro.
link or next link.
Hello, you're not audible. Your voice is a little bit like very slow, low.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm saying, meeting is going to end soon, so like we can discuss
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah,
thing
yeah.
on
Okay,
next
okay.
link.
It's less than 1 minute. Okay, cool.